President, what is the pending business before the Senate?
The nomination of the Secretary of the Treasury.
Thank you, Madam President. It's to that subject that I wish to speak. And I would start by saying, Madam President, that our country is going through some very hard economic times. And when you're going through hard economic times, you need several things to get you through. You need the resolve and the resilience of the American people. You need the skill, the talent, and the creativity of America's best and brightest thinkers when it comes to solutions. And you need wisdom from your political leaders. You also need one other thing from your political leaders, Madam President. You need the presence of character. You need leaders who will lead by example. Unfortunately, the hard times in which we find ourselves were born of excess. We spent too much, we borrowed too much, and we saved too little. Corporate CEOs saw fit to pay themselves huge bonuses while running their companies into the ground. Some very clever people found ways to create new financial instruments like credit default swaps, making enormous amounts of money for themselves on every transaction, while exposing their companies and their shareholders to trillions of dollars in liabilities. At the same time, Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae were running amok, making risky home loans that helped cause this economic crisis in which we now find ourselves. It is because of the excesses of a few, Madam President, that all of the American people are left holding the bag and are being called upon to clean up the mess. Today we vote on whether to confirm a very smart, able, and skilled business leader to help lead America out of the mess that we're in. No one questions Timothy Geithner's intellect, his knowledge of financial markets, or his skill in managing complex business problems. He has, as many have said, the type of experience that's necessary to navigate the turbulent waters that lie ahead. And Madam President, I believe he is smart. I believe he is talented. And I believe he's experienced. But as I said earlier, Madam President, that is not enough. There are lots of smart, talented, and experienced people who got us into this economic mess. It will take more than smarts, talent, and experience to get us out. It will take leaders who have the trust of the American people because they are willing to lead by example. I don't know Mr. Geithner's state of mind when he made the mistake of not paying his payroll taxes between 2001 and 2004. He said it was, quote, careless mistakes, avoidable mistakes, end quote. And perhaps so. But the one thing I do know, Madam President, is that he should have known better. Not just because he is a highly educated businessman who had prior service as a top-ranking official at the Treasury Department, but because he was notified several times of his tax liability by his employer at the time and even signed documents acknowledging that he owed the taxes. Again, Madam President, he should have known better. I don't judge Mr. Geithner as a person. None of us is perfect. We all make mistakes. We all need redemption. But as a senator, I have a responsibility to vote. I have to vote on whether I believe Tim Geithner should serve as our next Treasury Secretary. And as a senator, I am very concerned about the message that Mr. Geithner's confirmation will send to the American people. As Treasury Secretary, he will oversee the IRS and therefore be tasked with enforcing our nation's tax laws. Yet for 4 years, he failed to pay his lawful taxes after being informed of his obligation to do so. If I were to support this nomination, I don't know how I would explain such a vote to my fellow South Dakotans who work very hard and pay their taxes every year, on time and in full. Madam President, as many of my colleagues have pointed out, these are extraordinary times, and they call for extraordinary leadership. I couldn't agree more. But leadership is about more than smarts, and it's about more than skill. By all accounts, Mr. Geithner is a good man, and I respect his willingness to serve. I expect he will be confirmed, and when he is, he faces a daunting challenge in stabilizing our financial markets and strengthening our economy. Once he is confirmed, I look forward to working with him to meet this challenge And I hope, Madam President, that he is successful and that we, as a country, are successful. But for the reasons I have just stated, I cannot add my support to his nomination. Madam President, I yield the floor.